Born to Win, Transactional Analysis with Gestalt Experiments by Muriel James and Dorothy Jungwirth. Hey there, pull up a chair and get comfortable. I've got something fascinating to share with you. Something about the wild, wonderful journey of becoming who you're truly meant to be. Ever catch yourself playing a role that doesn't quite fit? Like you're stumbling through someone else's script, hitting your marks but never quite feeling authentic? Maybe you've had those moments where you surprise yourself with a sudden burst of anger, an unexpected wave of sadness, or that nagging feeling that you're stuck on a treadmill, repeating the same relationship patterns over and over. And then you see those people who just seem to glide through life with this natural confidence, this realness, and you wonder, what do they know that I don't? Why do some people thrive while others just survive? It's one of those questions that keeps you up at night, isn't it? Back in 1971, two brilliant minds put together a book that hit people right in the soul. We're talking millions of readers, worldwide impact, the whole deal. It wasn't just another psychology book destined to collect dust. This was Born to Win, crafted by Dr. Muriel James and Dr. Dorothy Jungwirth. What made this book different? It gave people actual tools, not just theories. Real practical insights into why we do the baffling things we do, why we feel what we feel, and here's the kicker, how we can consciously choose a different path forward. These weren't just ivory tower academics either. James and Jungwirth were in the trenches as counselors and consultants, learning directly from the legends themselves. Dr. Eric Berne, who created transactional analysis, and Dr. Frederick Perls, the Gestalt therapy pioneer. They took these powerful but sometimes complex ideas and translated them into everyday language. Their belief? Understanding yourself isn't some luxury reserved for therapy sessions. It's essential survival gear for living a life that actually means something. So today, I'm inviting you on an adventure through the heart of Born to Win. Think of this as less of a dry summary and more of an expedition. We'll explore the fascinating terrain of your own personality, those different parts of you that sometimes seem to be pulling in opposite directions. We'll uncover the hidden scripts that might be running your life, like background software you never installed, and the unconscious games people play in their daily interactions. Here's what I can promise you. By the end of our time together, you'll have a completely new way of seeing yourself and the people around you. You'll start recognizing your own patterns. You'll understand why your relationships work the way they do, and most importantly, you'll catch a glimpse of something profound. The truth that sits at the core of this book, that you, yes, you specifically, were born with everything you need to win at this thing called life. It's about discovering the real, capable, aware person you've always been underneath all the programming. Ready to dig in? Let's go. So, what does it actually mean to be a winner or a loser in life? Right off the bat, we need to clear something up. James and Jungwirth aren't talking about crushing your competition or climbing over people to get ahead. No, a winner in their framework is someone who lives authentically. Let that word sink in for a second. Authentic, real, genuine, trustworthy, responsive, present. Winners know who they are. They've made peace with themselves, and they're actively becoming the unique person they were born to be. They don't waste precious energy pretending or manipulating. They own their choices, their feelings, their entire lives. They're grounded in the present moment, aware of where they've been, fully alive in the now, and facing forward with genuine purpose. They can think independently, feel without fear, give and receive love freely, and tackle challenges with a core confidence, even when they stumble. They care about the world and feel connected to something bigger than themselves. A loser, by contrast, fails to show up authentically. They're often trapped by some image of who they're supposed to be, rather than who they actually are. Losers typically dodge responsibility, pointing fingers at others or circumstances for their unhappiness. They might live mainly in the past, stuck in the endless loop of if only, or anxiously in the future, either waiting for someone to rescue them when this happens, or dreading the worst. What if everything falls apart? By living everywhere except the present, they miss out on the only moment that's actually real. Losers often fall back on manipulative patterns they picked up as kids. strategies that keep them from experiencing real intimacy and fulfillment. They might feel chronically bored, anxious, trapped, or just half alive, often completely unaware that they've built their own prison. Now here's the important part. Almost nobody is 100% winner or 100% loser. It's really more of a sliding scale. We all have our authentic moments and our not-so-authentic moments. The beautiful message woven through Born to Win is this: you can consciously choose to move toward becoming more of a winner. And the book hands you two incredibly powerful psychological toolkits to make that happen: Gestalt therapy from Frederick Perls and transactional analysis from Eric Berne. Let's start with Gestalt therapy. Gestalt is this German word meaning roughly an organized whole. Perls noticed that most people feel fragmented, aware of only slices of themselves instead of the whole picture. Maybe you've buried your anger so deep you can't even feel it anymore, or perhaps you've locked away your playful side behind a wall of seriousness. Gestalt therapy aims for integration, helping you become aware of, accept, and reclaim these scattered pieces so you can feel whole again. It's all about awareness, taking responsibility, and living right here, right now. One of the famous Gestalt techniques is the hot seat, or two-chair method, where you might literally have a conversation between different parts of yourself. Your angry self talks to your helpful self, and suddenly you understand the conflict that's been tearing you up inside. It's about fully experiencing your feelings in the present moment until everything clicks into place, that powerful aha moment where everything suddenly makes sense. While Gestalt focuses on emotional insight and integration, transactional analysis gives you a more structured, analytical framework for understanding yourself and how you interact with others. Eric Berne developed this by watching how people seem to completely shift personas mid-conversation. He realized these shifts were predictable and could be analyzed systematically. Transactional analysis gives us both a language and a structure to understand what's happening inside us and between us. Transactional analysis is built around 4 types of analysis. 1. Structural analysis, understanding the structure of your own personality. 2. Transactional analysis proper, analyzing the interactions between people. 3. Game analysis, uncovering the hidden motives and payoffs in certain repetitive interactions. 4. Script analysis, examining the unconscious life plans that often dictate our destiny. Let's dive into the heart of the whole system, structural analysis. Berne proposed that each of us operates from 3 distinct ego states. These aren't abstract concepts floating around in theory land. They're real, observable patterns of feeling, thinking, and behaving, like different software programs recorded in our brains from past experiences. He called them the parent, the adult, and the child. Important note here, when these words are capitalized, parent, adult, child, we're talking about these specific ego states, not actual parents, adults, or children. Picture these 3 states stacked like a tower. At the top sits the parent ego state. This contains all the attitudes, behaviors, beliefs, and rules we absorbed from our parents or other authority figures when we were kids. It's like having audio recordings of your parents playing on a loop in your head. The parent expresses itself in 2 main flavors. The nurturing parent is comforting, caring, supportive, protective, like a loving parent would be. Think warm hugs or saying, "Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." Then there's the critical or prejudicial parent, the part that judges, criticizes, enforces rules, and issues commands, often based on how our own parents acted. Picture finger wagging, using words like should, ought to, never, always, or expressing biases we absorbed without even realizing it. In the middle sits the adult ego state. This has nothing to do with age. It functions like a rational computer, objective, logical, focused on what's actually happening right now. The adult gathers information, weighs facts, estimates probabilities, tests reality, and makes decisions based on actual data, without getting hijacked by the parent's rules or the child's emotions. It asks questions like, what are the actual facts here? What are my options? What's likely to happen if I do this? At the bottom is the child ego state, This contains all the feelings, impulses, needs, and experiences we had as a kid. It's the recording of how we first responded to the world. The child ego state has several distinct phases. The natural child is spontaneous, uncensored, playful, curious, affectionate, impulsive, the raw infant within us. This is where pure joy, creativity, and unfiltered emotion live. The adapted child is the part that learned to modify those natural impulses to fit in and get approval from parents and others. It might be compliant, withdrawn, rebellious, or procrastinating, depending on what rules and expectations it encountered. Then there's the little professor, the intuitive, creative, and sometimes sneaky part of the child. It's the street-smart wisdom that figures things out, picks up on nonverbal cues, and gets those gut feelings. We all have these three ego states running inside us, and we shift between them constantly, usually without even noticing. Think about how you might react to knocking over your coffee. Your adult might think, okay, it's spilled, let me grab a cloth and clean this up. Probably should move the cup farther from the edge next time. Your parent might scold, how clumsy, you should be more careful. Your child might feel embarrassed, oh no, everyone's staring at me, angry, stupid cup. Or maybe even playful, oops, look, I made coffee art. Understanding these ego states is the first step. That's structural analysis. The next step is transactional analysis proper, analyzing the actual interactions between people. Every time we interact with someone, we send a message, a stimulus from one of our ego states, and they respond from one of theirs. Byrne called the basic unit of recognition a stroke. A stroke can be a physical touch, a word, a nod, a smile, a frown. Any act that acknowledges another person exists. We have this fundamental human hunger for strokes, just like we hunger for food. Research on infants showed this tragically. Babies who don't get enough physical touch literally fail to thrive. As we grow up, this need for physical touch evolves into a deeper need for recognition in all its forms. Strokes come in two flavors: positive, like a compliment, a warm greeting, or really listening to someone, and negative, criticism, a sneer, or just plain ignoring someone. Positive strokes nourish us, make us feel valuable, and help us grow into winners. Negative strokes, and here's the weird part, are actually better than no strokes at all, because they at least provide recognition, but they make us feel worthless and push us toward loser patterns. Discounting, treating someone as insignificant, brushing off their feelings or problems, is a particularly nasty form of negative stroking. The book drives home how crucial positive strokes are, things like genuinely listening and offering specific, real compliments for building healthy relationships and solid self-esteem. When we exchange strokes, we create transactions. Byrne identified three main types. Complementary transactions happen when the response comes from the expected ego state and fits the stimulus. Someone asks an adult question, "What time is it?" and gets an adult answer, "It's 3 o'clock." Communication flows smoothly. Or a hurt child, "I'm scared," gets a nurturing parent response, "Don't worry, I've got you." The communication lines stay parallel and open. Crossed transactions happen when the response comes from an unexpected ego state, crossing the communication wires. Someone asks an adult question, "Do you know where my keys are?" but gets a critical parent response, "Why can't you ever keep track of your stuff?" Communication breaks down fast, usually leading to confusion or a fight. The lines cross in a diagram. Ulterior transactions are trickier. They involve more than two ego states at once. There's a surface message, usually adult to adult, and a hidden psychological message, often child to child or parent to child. The classic example is the flirtatious, "Wouldn't you like to come up and see my etchings?" The adult surface message is about art, but the hidden child message is about something entirely different. These ulterior transactions form the foundation for psychological games, which brings us to game analysis. Psychological games have nothing to do with fun. They're recurring patterns of interaction that seem normal on the surface, but are driven by hidden motives and lead to a predictable, usually negative, emotional payoff. Games typically involve a switch in roles within what Stephen Karpman called the drama triangle. The three roles are persecutor, who blames, criticizes, and sets harsh limits; rescuer, who offers help in a way that keeps people dependent and often plays the martyr; and victim, who feels helpless, powerless, and seeks out either a persecutor or rescuer. In a game, players often start in one role but switch to collect their emotional payoff. Take the game Why Does This Always Happen to Me? Someone starts as the victim, complaining about their bad luck, which hooks a rescuer who jumps in with advice. The victim then plays Yes But, shooting down every suggestion. Eventually, the frustrated rescuer flips to persecutor. Well, if you won't listen to any advice, it's your own fault. This allows the original victim to collect their payoff. Maybe self-pity or confirmation that nobody really understands me. Other common games include Kick Me, where someone unconsciously provokes others into putting them down, confirming their I'm not okay belief. Now I've Got You, where someone waits for you to mess up, then pounces with righteous anger. Uproar, often played by couples to avoid real intimacy, involving escalating provocations that lead to a huge fight and angry withdrawal. See What You Made Me Do, avoiding responsibility by blaming someone else. And I'm Only Trying to Help You, the rescuer game where the help consistently fails, leaving the rescuer feeling unappreciated or switching to attack mode. Why do people play these exhausting games? They provide a way to structure time, get intense strokes even if they're negative, reinforce childhood beliefs about themselves and others, avoid genuine intimacy which feels scary, and advance their life script. This brings us to the fourth level of analysis, script analysis. A life script is basically an unconscious life plan, like a play you're performing without realizing someone else wrote it. Decided in childhood based on messages from parents and early experiences, it dictates the roles you play, the people you're attracted to, the themes of your life, and ultimately, your destiny. Scripts form early, during what the authors call our days of decision, when as kids with limited understanding we try to make sense of the world. We interpret messages, verbal and nonverbal, often subtle or contradictory, from our parents, and we decide things like, I'm not good enough, people can't be trusted, I have to be perfect, don't feel, don't think, don't be close, or never succeed. These childhood decisions crystallize into fundamental psychological positions about ourselves and others. There are 4 basic positions. I'm okay, you're okay, is the healthy winner's position, based on mutual respect, allowing for real problem-solving and intimacy. I'm okay, you're not okay, is the projective position, feeling victimized, blaming others, potentially leading to anger or even criminal behavior. I'm not okay, you're okay, is the introjective position, feeling powerless and inadequate, comparing yourself negatively to everyone, leading to withdrawal, depression, or victim games. I'm not okay, you're not okay, is the futility position, losing interest in life, feeling hopeless, potentially leading to destructive behavior toward yourself or others. Our life script is heavily shaped by whichever position we adopted early on. Then we tend to see the world through that lens, choosing relationships and behaviors that confirm the script, even when it causes us pain. A woman who decided men are not okay might repeatedly marry men who treat her badly, confirming her script. A man who decided I'm stupid might unconsciously sabotage his success at school or work, playing the stupid game to prove his script right. Scripts often mirror themes from myths and fairy tales, the suffering Atlas carrying the world's weight, the rebellious Prometheus fighting authority, the waiting Cinderella, or Beauty trying to rescue the Beast. Identifying your underlying script is a powerful step toward taking back control of your destiny. So how do we break free from destructive scripts, stop playing these draining games, and move toward authenticity and that I'm okay, you're okay position? The key is strengthening and actively using the adult ego state. The adult acts as the executive of your personality. It can observe both the parent and child, evaluate their input based on what's actually happening now, and decide which feelings and behaviors are genuinely appropriate. Strengthening the adult involves several things: awareness, learning to recognize which ego state you're operating from at any moment. Asking yourself, is this feeling, thought, or behavior coming from my parent tapes, my child experiences, or my adult assessment of current reality? Decontamination. Identifying and challenging parent prejudices. All politicians are corrupt. And child delusions, nobody could ever love me, that have clouded the adult's clear thinking. Education. Gathering accurate information about yourself, others, and the world to give your adult better data. Making contracts. Using your adult to make conscious decisions to change specific behaviors or stop playing certain games. And developing adult ethics, moving beyond parent-based shoulds and child-based impulses to create your own ethical framework based on awareness, responsibility, and genuine respect for yourself and others. Ultimately, the whole point of this journey using transactional analysis and Gestalt tools is autonomy. Byrne defined autonomy as recovering three core capacities: awareness, spontaneity, and intimacy. Awareness is being fully present, perceiving the world directly, without the filters of old programming. Spontaneity is the freedom to choose your response from your full range of ego states, picking what's actually appropriate for this moment, rather than being hijacked by old patterns. Intimacy is the open, game-free expression of closeness, tenderness, and affection from your natural child, shared safely within your adult's awareness. Achieving autonomy means integrating the adult as the wise executive, allowing healthy expression of the parent's values and the child's joy and creativity, while letting go of the parts that are destructive or outdated. It means taking full responsibility for your life, making conscious choices, and understanding that you genuinely have the power to rewrite your script, to move from feeling like a loser to embodying the winner you were born to be. It's not always an easy path, but it's the path toward becoming truly, authentically yourself. Stepping back from all the details of Born to Win, what hits me hardest, even decades after it was published, is its message of hope and empowerment. James and Jongaward didn't present these psychological tools as some arcane secret knowledge for academics. They offered them as practical aids for everyday people trying to live more consciously and joyfully. The parent-adult-child framework is remarkably intuitive once you get it. Suddenly you start seeing it everywhere, in your own internal arguments, in family dynamics, in office politics, even in advertisements. It gives you language to understand those moments when you feel pulled in different directions, or when you react in a way that feels childish or overly parental. That awareness alone is transformative. It lets you pause, identify which part of you is running the show, and ask your adult, is this response actually appropriate right now? The life script concept is both sobering and liberating. Realizing you might be unconsciously acting out a drama written in childhood can feel unsettling. But here's the flip side. If the script was written, it can be rewritten. You're not just a puppet of your past. By bringing the script into conscious awareness, by understanding the messages and decisions that formed it, you gain the power to change the ending. That's real freedom. And the emphasis on strokes is such a simple yet powerful concept. How often do we underestimate the power of genuine recognition, a kind word, or truly listening? In our busy, often disconnected world, the hunger for positive strokes is enormous. Born to Win reminds us that giving and receiving positive strokes isn't just nice to have. It's essential fuel for emotional health and growth. It also warns about the subtle poison of discounting, how ignoring, dismissing, or subtly putting others down can wound deeply and reinforce those not okay feelings. So how can you start applying this today? It doesn't require years of therapy, just willingness to become more aware. First, notice your ego states. Just for today, try to catch yourself shifting. When you feel strong emotion, ask yourself, is this my child reacting? When you're judging or nurturing, is this my parent tape playing? When you're calmly solving a problem, that's your adult. Simply noticing is the crucial first step. Second, listen for gamey interactions. Think about a recurring conflict or frustrating pattern in one of your relationships. Could there be an underlying game? Are roles switching between persecutor, rescuer, and victim? Just identifying the game diminishes its power. Third, practice positive stroking. Make a conscious effort today to give one genuine, specific, positive stroke to someone. A compliment on work well done, an expression of appreciation, or simply taking time to truly listen without interrupting. Notice how it feels for both of you. Fourth, question a should. Think of one rule or belief you hold firmly, a parent message. Ask your adult, is this really true? Is it helpful now? Does it align with my values? Or is it just something I absorbed long ago without thinking? Born to Win is ultimately a deeply optimistic book. It affirms that within each of us lives an authentic self, capable of awareness, spontaneity, and intimacy. It acknowledges the power of the past, but refuses to let it dictate the future. It provides tools not just for understanding, but for genuine transformation. The journey toward autonomy, toward becoming a winner in the truest sense, is ongoing. It requires courage, awareness, and willingness to take responsibility for your own life story. But as James and Jongward so powerfully remind us, the potential is already inside you. You were, indeed, born to win. That wraps up our exploration of Born to Win by Muriel James and Dorothy Jongward. We've covered the essential frameworks today, the core ideas the authors provide for understanding yourself and your interactions. But honestly, it's like looking at photos of a place versus actually visiting. A summary can only hint at the richness inside the actual book. Real transformation often comes from those quiet moments of reading, when a specific example, a particular phrase, or a sudden insight connects deeply with your own life in a way no summary can replicate. This overview helps you decide if this book's journey is one you want to take more fully. If the ideas of ego states, life scripts, or becoming more authentic resonated with you today, I genuinely encourage you to grab a copy. Reading Born to Win isn't just about absorbing information. It's an active experience, a dialogue with yourself that can genuinely shift how you see your past, present, and future possibilities. You'll find a link in the description if you want to dive deeper. And if you found this journey through Born to Win insightful and valuable, maybe consider giving this episode a like and subscribing to Billionaire's Bookshelf. That way you won't miss our next deep dive into another book that could reshape your thinking and enrich your life. Let's keep learning and growing together. Until next time.